Have you ever built a machine learning model, one that works perfectly on your laptop, and then you just stop because you have no idea how to get it out into the real world? It's one of the biggest hurdles out there. So today, we're going to map out the blueprint for solving that exact problem using one of the most powerful tools for the job, AWS SageMaker.
So, let's talk about the why. Why is this so hard? You've spent weeks, maybe months, wrangling data, creating features, training this amazing model. And it works. But getting it from your local machine to a live application that can actually handle real users, well, that's a huge jump. This is that deployment gap where so many fantastic projects just seem to fizzle out. So what's the deal?
Well, when you look at them side by side, the difference is huge. On your own machine, you're constantly fighting against limited CPU and memory. And forget about scaling. If your app suddenly gets popular, it's just not going to happen. You have to set up everything by hand. The cloud, though, it's a whole different ballgame. We're talking massive, almost infinite scale. The infrastructure is managed for you, and the whole process is way, way simpler.
Okay, to make this all feel real, we're going to take on a clear mission together. We're building and deploying a model that can predict house prices in real time. It's a classic problem, right? But it's perfect for showing off all the challenges and the solutions that we're about to get into. And this is where our hero enters the story. AWS SageMaker. Seriously, this thing was built from the ground up to solve exactly these deployment headaches. Don't think of it as just one tool. Think of it more like a complete integrated studio for machine learning that's designed to build that bridge from your laptop to a real live application.
Now, if there's one phrase you should burn into your memory, it's this. SageMaker is a fully managed service. What that really means is AWS handles the servers, the security, all the nitty-gritty stuff. This lets you focus on what you're good at, the logic of your model, not the plumbing underneath it all.
We're going to break this whole process down into a simple three-phase journey. It's a structure that will take us all the way from just a raw data set to a live working model that's out there serving predictions over a secure API.
So here's our roadmap. It's 3 simple steps. First, we set up our workspace in the cloud. Second, we train our model, and super importantly, we tune it to get the best possible performance. And finally, that last mile, we deploy it as a live endpoint. So let's dive into step 1. Okay, before you can do any real science, you need a lab, right? A reliable and reproducible one. In the cloud, that means creating a central spot for all your data and a powerful place to actually write your code. Getting this foundation right is absolutely key. So how does this actually work? It's pretty straightforward. First, you're going to create an S3 bucket. Think of this as your project's digital warehouse. It holds your data, your models, everything. Then, you upload your dataset to it. Finally, you launch a SageMaker Notebook instance. This is your workbench in the cloud, all pre-configured with the tools and libraries you need, ready to go.
All right, our environment is all set up. Now we get to the fun part, the core machine learning task. The goal here isn't just to train a model. It's to find the best possible version of that model, the one that makes the most accurate predictions on data it's never seen before. And a huge part of that is something called hyperparameter tuning. You see, every algorithm has these little internal dials and knobs, things like learning rate or tree depth, that can dramatically change how well it performs. Trying to find the best combination by hand, it's like searching for a needle in a haystack. SageMaker automates this whole process, running hundreds of training jobs to find that perfect setting.
You know what it's like? It's like trying to bake the perfect cake. The hyperparameters are your oven temperature, your baking time, how much sugar you use. Instead of you just guessing and checking, SageMaker acts like a master baker. It methodically tests thousands of different recipes to find the one that gives you the best result. And now, the moment of truth. With just a single command, SageMaker takes your best model, packages it all up, and deploys it to a real-time endpoint. This is a secure web address that your application can call to get predictions back in milliseconds. Just like that, your model is officially live.
But wait, deploying the model isn't the finish line. In the real world, it's actually just the beginning. A model in production is a living thing. It needs to be monitored and maintained to make sure it keeps performing well and doesn't start costing a fortune.
So there are 2 big things you got to keep an eye on. First, monitoring. You'll use a tool like AWS CloudWatch to track things like how fast your endpoint is responding or if it's throwing any errors. This lets you catch problems before your users do. Second is scaling. If your app suddenly gets a ton of traffic, you can set it up to automatically add more power to handle the load and then scale back down when things get quiet to save money.
Look, As you start doing this, you're going to hit a few bumps in the road. It happens to everyone, I promise. So let's get ahead of the game and talk about some of the most common problems you might see and, more importantly, how to fix them.
Let's run through these real quick. If you see a permission error, your first stop is always the IAM role. Make sure it has the right permissions for SageMaker and S3. If your endpoint just fails to start up, dive into the CloudWatch logs. It's usually a simple typo or the machine you asked for isn't available. And finally, please actively manage your costs. Use AWS budgets to set alerts so you don't get a surprise bill, and maybe shut down your development instances overnight.
So there you have it. We've gone all the way from a dataset stuck on a laptop to a fully deployed, scalable machine learning model in the cloud. You now have the blueprint, the core steps to set up, train, tune, and deploy. The only question left is, what amazing problem are you going to solve next?